Yes, Kaustuv sir. The question is,
Yeah.
if a person has done what he thinks is basics in robotics and AI, so how should he start, or what are the things which he should keep in mind while selecting a company or applying for, and how to apply for?
Okay, let me just ask you this again. The person has completed everything, right? Matlab, the person has undergone the softwares, he knows every sort of concept, and he has gotten every sort of information in robotics and AI. After you completed every part of what is important for you to pursue into robotics or AI, the first thing that you should do is you should make your resume. That is the सबसे important, that is the foremost important thing. Now, a basic thing that I just want to tell each and every one of you, क्योंकि बहुत mistakes देखी है after verifying over thousands and thousands of resumes and CVs. Let me just tell you this: people have a very big misconception of posting their CVs during job posting, or whenever there is a requirement of a job. Okay, whenever they want to go for an interview, they directly go for CV. mat karo, it's not good. You shouldn't do it. You should 100% at all the time make a different resume, which is a one-pager document. Okay, so my first initiation to each and every one of you is to make a one-pager document of your resume. Now, resume, whenever you're making, it needs to be dependent on the job description. Let me just repeat, it depends on the job description that the company asks. Now, if you want to go for robotics and AI, or robotics, but robotics se le lete. If you want to go for robotics, okay, intern, then you should have a job description that should sound basically on as a robotics intern, as a robotics engineer, okay, as a robotics software engineer, okay, or work into robot operating system or ROS, specifically in core robotics. So example, etc, etc. So these sort of roles will be there. Now, on the basis of the job description that the companies will want to offer, will be offering, you have to curate your resume. That's the number one thing. Remember this, let me just tell you this: resume should be minimum 440 words to 600 words. उससे ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, नहीं तो it will be rejected from the ATS check. Okay, शायद आप लोगों को पता नहीं होगा, ATS is a software, okay, that every company has. When you submit your resume, a software clarifies or classifies if your resume is good or bad. Simple. And that is the ATS check. And they have been given a specific requirement. Example, robotics intern की experience होनी चाहिए, CGP इतनी होनी चाहिए, you should have so and so project, you should have a robotics project, you should have an artificial intelligence project if you are applying for an AI role. So it depends on what the ATS has. Now, where can you know what the ATS has its information? From the JD, which is a job description. So the number one thing, understand the JD very well. Craft your resume, which is a one-pager resume, on the basis of your JD, on the basis of the JD that you want to apply for. Point number one. Point number two, after you've given your resume, the second thing is job hunting. Okay, that is where most of the people face a lot of issues. You have the resume भी है आपके पास, CV भी है आपके पास, सब कुछ है, you have the cover letter also, सब कुछ है आपके पास, लेकिन you don't know where to approach. Let me tell you some platforms. Okay, first platform is LinkedIn. Number one, you need to have a really good connection in LinkedIn in order to go for the right job, because obviously if you have around 1 to 2 connections in LinkedIn, it becomes very, very difficult for you to go into any sort of like a vertical. So go for LinkedIn. Okay, create a very good profile. यूजुअली क्या करते हैं, हम भी बहुत सारे इंटरव्यूज़ लेते हैं बाय द वे, तो हम यूजुअली क्या करते हैं कि वी गो टू द लिंक्डइन, हमको हमारे पास तो रेज्यूमे होता नहीं, वी डू नॉट हैव द रेज्यूमे ऑल टुगेदर, वी गो टू द लिंक्डइन, वी क्लिक ऑन द वो जो 3 बटन्स होते हैं, उसके बाद ना एक आती है डाउनलोड द रेज्यूमे, तो वी डाउनलोड द रेज्यूमे फ्रॉम द लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल इटसेल्फ. तो बिफोर द इंटरव्यू हैज हैपेंड, वी ऑलरेडी नो द पर्सन. You do not know this happens, this is a trick, do not tell anyone. So everyone of the company that you're going to apply for, they are going to first check you out in your profiles, which is your LinkedIn. There's a lot of places where you can also make your profile, which is very good, especially for robotics engineers, AI practitioners, or people who love coding. They can use GitHub. GitHub is a very good community where most of the interviewers, जो भी software related होगा, कि all the interview where they will be asking you on the basis of your project will be checked through your GitHub. So this is something that you can currently do. You need to do some filtering for the jobs. If you go to the LinkedIn, okay, click on, for an example, robotics engineer आपको जाना है, okay, you want to go for robotics intern. Type on robotics intern. There will be a list of companies that you will be going. ऐसे ही अप्लाई मत कर देना हर जगह. It does not make a lot of sense. Check the JD for each company. Identify the company, point number 1. Check the JD for the company, point number 2. Check the months, check the location. On the basis of the 4 things, make your resume. Now आप पूछ रहे होंगे, sir, resume में why do you need to check for the location? Why do you need to check for कि कितने months का है? Because guys, think about it. You have had your experience, right? Example, you have had your experience in any company. It's for certain months. For an example, 2 months. Okay. That means if I am taking your interview and I am judging you on the basis of your resume, I am saying that this person has done a very good internship and has completed the internship time of 2 months. Means he or she can work for minimum 2 months. If my requirement is 6 months or 7 months or 8 months, I will not hire you. You know why? Because 100% आप तो लीव ही कर दोगे 2 months के बाद. How will I hire you? Obviously मेरे पास वो trust नहीं आएगा. That's the reason all those companies that are hiring for 3 months or 1 month, that is where you should apply your resume where you have an experience of minimum 2 months. Now you will ask कि what if I do not have any sort of experience? What should I do? मुझे कैसे internship मिलेगी? मुझे कैसे job मिलेगी? उसके लिए what you can do is you can focus on the project. The project should be helping some part of the people that you're connected with. Example, if you're working with, for an example, any sort of like a project, कोई भी एक social project हो गया. If you're importing that social project with robotics, obviously, by creating a hardware robot that is helping that social cause, the company can identify that because of your project there are multiple people that got help from you. That's a very good add-on. People think कि ये ज़रूरी नहीं होता. हर एक कंपनी एक यूनिकनेस देखती है. एवरी कंपनी सीज अ यूनिकनेस. इफ यू हैव अ यूनिकनेस इन योर प्रोजेक्ट, यू विल 100% गेट हायर्ड. एंड प्लस इफ यूर अ फ्रेशर, प्लीज चेक योर JD कि is it mentioned that they want fresher or is it mentioned that they want experienced people. On the basis of this, your resume can get selected or rejected. Please understand this. Third, once you have found out the company and once you have clicked on the apply now and everything you have done, the next step is the interview. Okay, now before the interview, every company is going to ask you one set of basic questions. For mechanical, there is going to be some assignment that you need to do. Let me just tell you about the 4 different domains on the basis of कि आपकी hiring कैसे हो सकती है, because as I mentioned, robotics is a multi-domainal field. When you are applying for a mechanical position for robotics company only, they are going to be taking your technical or assignment test, and that is 100% going to be in a software. They are going to be asking you on the basis of software. So there will be some concepts like bomb बनाओ, कि schematic बनाओ, कि you need to create like a structure, like they will be giving you a problem statement and you have to create that design using a software and they will be checking on the basis of that software. This is for all the mechanical people. For the electronics people, they will be giving you like a problem statement where you have to do an embedded code of it. There is a lot of people who do VLSI as well. Okay, so people either go for embedded coding or they either go for VLSI. So both of the cases, there is a coding round that is going to be 100% there. Okay, now one more thing, if you're a fresher and you do not have a very good understanding of coding but have used the hardware before, so you can showcase that hardware during the interview call, or you can mention it to the interviewer that I have a hardware project, and on the basis of that they can consider you. Next comes if you're going for an artificial intelligence role. It's very important that you have a basic understanding in 3 languages. Not all the 3 languages, either or. Okay, don't be afraid. The first language is C++. Very important language. लोग बोलते हैं कि C++ मत करो, बहुत पुराना है. गाइस, उनकी जो कोडिंग होती है अभी भी वो इधर जावा से होती है, नहीं तो C++ से होती है. दैट इज द बेस ऑफ इट. Okay, so if you're learning like a broader language, like a base level language, that you should start with either C++ or Java. Next comes is Python. When you're going for a little bit object oriented language, you should go for Python. That is where you do not have to code a lot, but logic to same ही है. Obviously the maths is the same. Whatever you use for C++ and Java, you're going to use the same thing for Python. That is 100% for sure. Okay. Once you've gone for Python, the next part that comes in is you have to identify certain libraries of Python. Okay, you have to undergo a lot of libraries that is related to robotics of Python. Example, Pyro हो गया, Dart हो गया. These are some of the very big libraries that is really helpful if you're going for robotics. Then you focus on machine learning. Then you use a lot of GPT and then focus on deep learning and then progress with artificial intelligence. This is something that you can do for sure. Okay, so these are some of the questions that people can ask you on the basics of Python. They will 100% ask you, but they will be giving you a data set. Okay, data set is basically sample data. 100 data मिलेगा कि 1000 data मिलेगा. On the basis of the sample data, they will be giving you a task, which is obviously their problem statement. Remember this. All those people who are cheating at the moment and using ChatGPT to copy all the answers of your assignments or your projects, it doesn't work out. If you think that you can put it in ChatGPT and post it, पकड़ लेंगे, आराम से पकड़ लेंगे. They just have an anti-ChatGPT tool, so they can easily do that. So do not do that. Now, the project that you make or the assignment that they are going to give you, please make sure that you're involving comments in it. You're making a line of code very, very proper. उसी हिसाब से you can, show them how simple the coding can be in terms of robotics. So this is something that you can 100% do, right? Now, all these things are done. You know the coding. Be prepared for the interview question, task number 1, which is the assignment and the coding round. Task number 2, it's either going to be a technical round, जहाँ पे there will be a technical interview hoo-ba-hoo. मतलब a person will be coming in front of you in a Google meeting or a Zoom, or they'll be calling you offline. So this is something that they can do. And let me make it very, very simple. People get frightened of the interview calls, like how should they do, क्या बोलना है, किस तरीके से बोलना है. They get very, very frightened. I'll tell you a secret. Okay, come closer. I'll tell you a secret. करना क्या? Resume है ना? You have the resume. All you need to do is Xerox copy whatever you have written in your resume in your. बस और कुछ नहीं करना. That is what the companies will ask you. They will not ask you a single question that is outside the resume. That is something that most of the companies, 85 to 90% of the companies will 100% do this. वो 10% जो companies बच गई, they might ask you some questions based on your 4 years of degree or your previous experience, but everything is going to be related to your resume. Now, you have done the technical round, then comes the hiring round. Please remember this. Salary की जब बात आ गई ना सर, negotiation please करना, क्योंकि उसके बेसिस में ही आपकी जॉब जो इंटरव्यू होती है. बहुत बार क्या होता है कि सैलरीज की तो बात होती है, दैट कम्स इन द माइंड ऑफ द इंटरव्यूअर पोस्ट द इंटरव्यू. प्लीज मेक श्योर दैट यू आर कंप्लीटिंग दैट नेगोशिएशन पार्ट ड्यूरिंग द इंटरव्यू. नाउ आई थिंक हम लोग थोड़ा सा ऑफ टॉपिक हो गए, बट एनी विच वेज दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोसेस जो आपको इंटरव्यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग करने में बहुत हेल्प करेगा. ओके, पोस्ट दिस व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज you need to focus on certain fields. Let me tell you what fields. ये तो आपको पता ही चल गया, then you can get the internship. It's very clear. Let's focus on the fields. What fields? First, ROS 2 is something that is evolving nowadays. Okay, ROS is a field that is really important. Okay, and where you are going to get a lot of jobs. So there's a lot of companies. Example में दे देता हूँ example में दे देता हूँ Amazon का, Walmart, Myntra. All those companies that is delivering products from you, okay, they obviously have an automation robot, or they're looking for it 110%. If they do not have, they're looking for it. What they do is there is a pick and place robot that exactly happens in here, where you get the product that you deliver through a robot. That's the reason it's very, very fast. Okay, robot product को वहाँ से लेके एक दूसरे पॉइंट पे लेके जाता है, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग खत्म हो जाती है, रोबोट पिक एंड प्लेस कर दिया, फिर पूरी रैपिंग हो गई, फिर डिलीवरी पार्टनर को दे दिया, उसके बाद you get the product. And that's a simple process. If you want to work in an industry like that, in a manufacturing setup, then ROS is going to be very, very helpful for you, because LG से start करके Sony तक, Myntra से start करके Lenskart तक, everyone uses ROS at the moment. So everything is there. Now, secondary field is you should focus on mechanical designing. Mechanical designing is a combination of two fields, mechanical engineering and industrial designing, where you're focusing on the mechanical aspects of it and also focusing on the design aspect of it. Okay. Now, when you focus on mechanical and industrial designing together, maximum cases में people are looking for someone who can design their robots or who can design their products. Okay, you need to be very, very cool into these concepts, and आपका ना वो designing का जो focus है ना वो बढ़ना चाहिए. Most of the companies, I'll tell you, okay, Apple का example ले लो, Apple, okay, most of the companies like Apple, they hire designers, okay, which have a very sound knowledge about the product as well, about its features as well, so you can work in these fields, and this is going to be very, very crucial for you. Next, right now, at the moment, artificial intelligence के अंदर there is a deep engineering field, okay? It's a combination where you're focusing on artificial intelligence but using deep learning, okay? So when you're focusing on deep engineering, then you're focusing on deep learning, okay, where you're putting obviously an artificial brain into the robot, plus you're practicing how the engineering team also works by inculcating all the outputs within the engineering team into the robot. So you're working with multiple teams together, and that's a very high paying job that you can 100% go for. And I think this is something that is really important for you to go on whenever you're going for the field of robotics or AI, or within the field of robotics and AI. This is the part by part understanding of how you should go for an interview, how you should focus on it. But please understand this, everything can be done only and only if and only if you have a very good understanding about projects. ये conversation इसलिए हुई keeping in mind that you already know robotics and AI, and you already understand robotics, and you have picked your field and you have picked the domain that you want to go for. Only then focus on this. ये एक second priority for you. First priority is always conceptualization, focusing on the practical application of it. Wherever you see a machine that you feel can be automated, and by using the softwares and by using the concepts, you could do something about it, that is a project that you can do. People usually ask कि क्या project करना है, क्या project करना है. Project आपके सामने ही है. You just have to, look around. It's very, very simple, right? So it starts from there. It starts from zero. उसके बाद, then you should go for second priority, which is focusing on your resume, giving mock interviews, focusing on what should be the technical questions, understanding how the conversation is. Even if you have a technical mindset, it doesn't really matter if you're not able to speak anything during the interview, right? So that is very, very important. And I think that is enough for all of you to understand how cool robotics and AI is and how cool your career can be in the field of robotics and AI.